All right, so Don Do here with TLC Roofing and Restoration. We're gonna attempt a repair and check for brittle test to see if the condition of this shingle is able to be repaired or not. You can see here, we're on the back portion of the roof. You can see here, this is a spot here where the shingles had been lifted up and the wind had caught it. So this is a good example as of what we're looking at, especially with down there. You can see some of the shingles down there that have been damaged and we tarped up. So I'm going to attempt to do a repair here, see if the condition of the shingle can be repaired. We got a putty knife here. We're going to try to be careful here and try to pry this shingle up. You can see here, just trying to even get this shingle up. It's already breaking right here. I'm going to try to be careful so I don't damage this shingle. That way a proper test can be done here so we're not, so you can see it's just difficult. The shingle's condition is just really brittle. You can see it's breaking right here. Show some right here. Come back on this other side over here. See if I can't get this shingle loose on this end. If the shingles are in really good shape, they should be able to be pried up fairly easy. But this one's pretty brittle and it's sealed down really tight on these other sections, so you can see that right there, that happened. Well, first off, you can tell here, as I'm trying to get these shingles up, you can see under here, it's hard because of the seal. And you can see what's gonna happen with the mat transfer. When I try to get these shingles up, they're gonna transfer over and they're not loosening up. If the shingle was in really good condition and not weathered or ruined, what's gonna happen is you're gonna see the sealant nice, so you know, straight across here, so that way it'll seal back down properly. So that's the first thing, and then obviously you got this right here, which is a problem. So this shingle is going to be a repair attempt anyway, so you can see, I mean, it just right here, it came apart. The shingles, just because of the condition of the shingle, it's just ripping easy and it's coming apart in a couple spots here, here, one more right here. So this whole shingle right here, this is a full shingle. We're going to go ahead and try, in order to replace this shingle properly, be able to nail it in and slide it, I usually have to loosen up 3 courses of shingles. So because where this one is nailed is all the way up in here. So in order to get to the nails to be able to take this shingle out, if they nailed this roof correctly, I'm gonna have to loosen these 3 rows all up to get this shingle out. So we'll be looking at that as well. This is that loose section. Shingle really tight. Now you can see here, I mean, when I'm trying to get this shingle loose, you can see this right here? Again, that's that mat transfer across the top here. And I have to be able to get this to be able to lift this shingle up. This actually is the other piece of the bottom shingle that's coming loose when I'm trying to pull this up nice and easy. So again, in order to get this shingle out, I have to loosen this up. If I don't loosen this up, I'm never going to be able to slide this shingle in correctly. And right now, I can't lift this up because it's too tight in here. So if I go to lift this up to be able to pull these nails out, it's going to ruin this shingle. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to loosen up all 3 of these rows again, but I'm going to try to pop this free, and we'll try to crowbar these nails out as we're going. And again, I'm trying to not lift this up too high because I don't want to crease the shingles intentionally. So we're trying to be careful. Hopefully that does it. No. These shingles are really brittle, so I'm trying to be super careful with popping these out. Alright, so here's a shingle out. As you can see, when I pull this shingle out, when I broke the seal on the shingle here, and you can see I tried to be as careful as I possibly could. A couple things happen. One, when we're trying to get something underneath like a putty knife or something, you can see here, there's no sharp or jagged edges on this. Just a straight putty knife just to try to scoop the shingle out nice and easy. This happens here. You can see this damage here. Here where the shingle's adhered, it started to happen right here. So not only is the edge of the shingle going to be compromised a little bit, but here across this, you can see the whole mat transfer from the other shingle above it, which is going to break the seal. So the seal is going to be no good on the top shingle. So every single shingle that I replace is going to be damaged as we go up. So you got to figure every shingle that is going to happen is going to mat transfer across the top, which you're going to have to do another one and another one and another one. Same thing with right here. Okay. So, and in some circumstances, like it did here, it's going to damage the shingle below it sometimes as well. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is a shingle that had come off in the previous section down here. So we're going to go ahead, and even though it's not a brand new shingle, because we're going to do an eye-tail on here, we're going to go ahead and attempt to put this shingle back in here without damaging this one to see if it creases or what on a brittle test. But I think we're going to have a problem with mainly the mat transfer and being able to get this shingle back in here right, okay? And you can see I loosened up all these, and you got a crowbar on you? No? Okay. Let me see here. All right. And hammer. All right. So there's a couple nails in here. I'm gonna try to go ahead and carefully tap these down. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna try to go ahead and get this shingle straight in here. All right, so again, this is an older shingle that already came off in the storm. I'm just using this as an example for being able to nail the condition. All right, so we got this shingle in here, okay? Now, the biggest key factor is going to be able to nail this shingle and lift this up to where I can get the nail in there without damaging these shingles to crease. Okay, so we already know that we have mat transfer and the sealant's gonna be an issue. Now we're gonna attempt to do it this way, okay? So, shingle manufacturer requires 4 nails. We're gonna put 4 to 5 nails in this thing. That's what we do when we install. So we're gonna have to come here first on the corner where we come up. And you can see, again, I showed you in the beginning of the video, this was already a problem with the previous wind, okay? So, as I'm nailing, I'm gonna lift up here and I'm gonna get into that chalk line here. All right? Then I gotta come back over to this shingle up here and I'm gonna have to nail here because the wind caused the nails to come through. You can see here, when the wind caught this shingle, it pulled the nails through the shingle. So I'm gonna have to put one here. And as I lifted that up just ever so lightly, you can see here, when I lifted this shingle up, look, I'm not lifting up high enough to crease it, but when I lift this up the nail, it pulled it, where the wind caught it in that section, it pulled that through. All right. And same thing up here. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to my previous repair, which is this shingle right here, okay? I'm gonna have to lift this shingle up high enough to where I can get nails in here. So we're gonna start here on the corner. We're gonna lift this thing up. And as you can see, I'm trying to be careful. Some of the shingle condition's really brittle. It ripped a little bit right there, okay? But I'm not pulling up hard on the shingle. I'm not being aggressive with it. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to cause intentional damage. If it's possible to make the repair without doing so, we want to do that. So I'm going to come back here where the nail line is. Come back here, same thing here. Okay. So technically this shingle would be fully installed and repaired, okay? So the thing that we'd be looking at again is when we're pulling up on these shingles to nail, whether or not the previous shingle comes loose. You can see here, this is pretty loose, and whether or not this shingle is gonna reseal back on top of the other one. Bring that camera back over here. Now, I'm not lifting up on this, but if you look under here, you can see that there's mat transfer on this shingle. Okay, so that means that this shingle is technically damaged and it's not going to reseal. Okay, so like I said, when I pry up the shingle above where the repair is, it's going to damage this shingle because it's going to mat transfer. It's going to damage the shingle below it and here. So in order to replace this shingle, when this seal comes loose, I'm going to break this shingle is going to be no good as well. And as you go sporadically through the whole entire thing, so that's going to be the biggest issue. Here's the repair shingle. You can see this shingle here. We barely lifted it. You can see it's loose. So we'd have to go ahead and we need to seal and caulk this shingle, which we'd basically just having caulking hold this together because the mat transfer, like right here in this section right here, you can see. Okay. Now, when I'm looking across this shingle here, I'm not seeing a lot of creasing or problems because I was careful with the shingle, but it's not necessarily going to be a crease on the shingle above. It's going to be the ability to be able to repair it without it ripping like here, or the laminate to come loose like it does in a couple places when we're lifting a shingle up, or the mat transfer and the sealant is going to be no good. So every single one is going to damage as we stagger and go along. Okay, so it's not necessarily going to be a creasing issue. and that's going to be the biggest concern, because we're going to have to reseal. Even this shingle here, we're going to have to reseal. It's going over top of mat transfer where there's no sealant on the previous shingle. Manufacturers will not allow that. They don't want that to happen. If there's mat transfer or any debris even under the shingle and its inability to be able to reseal, it would need to be replaced. Same thing with each shingle as we go along, with the inability to be able to pry a shingle up to make the repair properly, and it's a mat transfer, it's going to be no good. So I know I keep reiterating that, but sometimes it's hard to understand. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with an ITEL test here, and we'll go ahead and submit the results in with this video. We'll send you the link. We're going to upload this onto our YouTube page so it can be viewed by everyone. You can take a look at the repair, and we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys can see why this roof can't be approved, and we appreciate it. Thank you.